You have a massive installation under the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City. It's very powerful. Tell us about that.
This is truly is a global conversation, and I think of the history of New York and Lenape territory. I think of the I often think of the chosen histories that are represented in place, opposed to things that are purposefully ignored or and I feel like this work offers a lot of entrance for various perspectives in a space like this. um, whether it's people that are navigating colonial borders, whether it's colonial borders that cross indigenous territories and space. And I feel like this touches on a lot of that. And referenced, the material was sourced from the US Mexico border wall, which is still being constructed now. To me, that is a scar that's continually being made of colonial violence across our indigenous territories and lands, that cuts off communities, that cuts off all the beings that we share land with, waterways, and this real disconnected, unnatural attempt at containment. And so some of that gets very political pretty quick with how people view their positioning on what that wall represents to them, I suppose. And part of this work was removing that wall material and building something else in conversation. So it was a reference to also pop art. And for me, that reference is, it touches on a few things. It touches on the title. In every language, there's land. Um, it touches in our responsibility for land and our responsibility to care for land. And I really love seeing everyone interact with it. A lot of this work that we put out there as artists and share publicly in space takes on its own life and engagement with space and community. And for this work, it's been really I feel like it's been really enjoyable from my place here is and role in that work to watch everyone engage, to see uh, that space filled with children playing and families and interacting in such a different way than what the material alone was meant to be. Yeah, I feel like everybody has a stake in the story too of connection to something like that. So
Nicholas, you've studied in London, New Zealand. Tell us about how that has influenced your work.
every aspect of my education has been impactful in ways. And um before that, I started as an artist in my community. Sitka Kwan. Sitka is the home community. And I started off apprenticing with my father, my late father, Kinda Dave Galanan, my uncle, Will Burkhart, who's I still work with, going through like customary apprenticeships with elders and masters or teachers of the culture here. And that was really a core foundation to what I do now. I didn't want to study in the US. For me, it was important to try to see more of the world, of different cultures, different perspectives. My undergraduate was at London Guildhall, and that was, sometimes the things that we get from education aren't what we expect them to be, in a sense. So like I learned from some like negative experiences out there. When I was there working, there was conversations of I cannot bring my indigenous culture to the curriculum. It was too literal. It was this, it was that. It wasn't this, it wasn't that. And I that shaped me in a way that I didn't expect to really understand till later, I suppose. I didn't have the tools or mechanisms to respond while I was there, but I connected that directly to forced assimilation, boarding schools, kill the Indian, save the man, of things that we're not allowed to have our identity in these spaces, but we're told to go to these spaces to succeed. So I'd kept sketchbooks and ideas that I'd never brought into my mentors or tutors or anything. I realized that they couldn't engage in this conversation. And, I fulfilled my requirements for that degree and left. And that's why I went to Aotearoa in New Zealand, working with Robert Yonke at the Maori Visual Arts program. Obviously, I wasn't studying Maori culture. I was working with my Tlingit Unanga perspectives and culture. And there I was allowed to bring these conversations to institutional space and university settings. And there I finally, I felt like they wanted me to succeed. There I got deeper connections and understandings of the complexities and got tools for this, navigating these spaces as Indigenous people that these other universities would really just shut you out of and shut you down at from the start of. So that was really impactful for me, both sides of that experience.
Okay, so what's next for Nicholas Galanin?
I recently completed a Kutie totem pole. Recently completed this project. Opened up a new work at the Liverpool Biennial, which is up right now, and I am currently creating new work for the Armory. Candace Hopkins is curating some solo exhibition spaces at the Armory in September in New York, the art fair, and I'm working on a new record because I make music as well under Yatsine with our last record was out on Sub Pop in Seattle, so I'm working on the next record right now with that. That's a slow, enjoyable process, but got a solo exhibition opening at Site Santa Fe in October. So I'm working on that. And yeah, I think right now also I'm home with my family. We're fishing right now and smoking salmon and processing. I kind of took the month off so I can be home and do some of that, which is also really important.
It's very important. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining.